Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Popco the Writers. That's all I got this morning, this evening. I'm a little confused.
This morning. We don't have that great of a time difference between us.
No, definitely not. Um, this weekend started with me finding a Batmobile that I had no idea where I got it from.
That's the animated show, right?
Uh huh.
Batmobile? Yeah.
Yeah. I was cleaning stuff up, and suddenly I had a Batman on my desk, a Batmobile, and I'm like, I
Oh, you
just
don't remember? You don't remember buying it?
no, no
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm.
It's cool. I pull it back, it races around. It's really nice, you know.
Here's what I have on my desk today.
Mummy's Tomb Book and Record, very nice.
Yeah, these were the greatest when I was a kid. And there were four different ones here,
Nice.
and it has the record in it and the comic book story.
I had some of those when I was a kid too. I had the Spider-Man one, and
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I
yeah,
had several. I had a Batman and a Superman and a Spider-Man. I had a one of the Planet of the Apes ones,
I
and
think I've seen the cover for that one. Yeah,
and
or
then
at
the
least one
GI
of them.
Joe ones,
Yeah,
and
this
Star
came today.
Trek. I had Star Trek too.
This came today.
Oh, look at that, huh?
Yeah, I'm
That's
also getting Thanos, and I think I'll just have the two big bads
mhm.
somewhere over here soon. You
Well,
know,
it's too bad that we he won't be playing the part anymore. Have we heard anything more about that?
not yet. There is rumors that Disney is looking into the possibility of replacing him, but they don't want to do anything until they know for sure what's going
Sure,
on.
sure.
And his lawyers seem so adamant of I'm going to get them out of this. It's no big deal. And now it's been nothing for weeks.
Yeah, I thought that was all taken care of, right? That
Mhm.
the evidence was. Hi, Eddie.
And yes, I
Eddie
did.
Eddie Von Zipper.
I did fix the shelf. So I bought these, and they're designed to just put like hollow wall anchors in, and then dry, and then you just slide the shelves down. But
Hmm.
in doing so, it just tipped forward through the whole thing. And I'm like, well, that's a bad design. It's not really holding up properly. So I bought a couple L brackets and just put them underneath.
So simple, even a dummy can do it.
I can.
You're too smart for them.
So I was thinking about something today.
Is that? I thought I heard a noise from out west.
Yeah, that smoke signal and stuff like that. That was me. Uh, so I kind of went backwards. I thought, Kang wouldn't be a thing right now if Loki hadn't freed him, or basically killed. If Loki hadn't helped Sylvie get to He Who Remains and kill He Who Remains, thereby freeing Kang and the other, because he was controlling them by
Oh,
controlling the timeline.
I don't. Is I must have missed that or forgotten that. What? I don't. I thought it was going to happen regardless.
No, He Who Remains was basically keeping the other variants from happening by pure pruning timelines.
Oh, okay, okay.
So once they killed him, suddenly everything branched off. You got other Kangs.
Right, right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So
So it's all
basically,
Loki's fault.
it is. But Loki wouldn't be in that situation had the Avengers not went back in time.
Right. So it's the
Okay.
Avengers' fault.
Right. But the Avengers wouldn't have had to go back in time
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for Kang. I'm for Thanos.
Thanos. I was going to say no.
Right.
Thanos.
For Thanos snapping.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and then you could keep trailing it back.
Yeah.
Well, Thanos wouldn't have really even. Basically, you could transfer it all the way back to through Civil War, all of this other stuff to get to the point where you're looking at, well, there wouldn't have been a Civil War if there hadn't been an Avenger, if Ultron hadn't existed.
Yeah.
And if Ultron wouldn't have existed had the Chitauri not attacked. And the Chitauri wouldn't have attacked had Loki not made the deal with Thanos. And Thanos, and Loki wouldn't have been attacking if Thor hadn't beaten him and if Loki hadn't grown up jealous. So had Odin never have picked Loki up as a baby and just left him there for the Frost Giants to raise him and didn't have his wife teach him magic and all this other stuff, none of the MCU would have happened.
And this is what you think of in your free time, right?
Yeah.
So it's Odin's fault.
It is Odin's fault for doing a good deed.
Yep.
Odin, and it seems very out of character for Odin to just suddenly take on a child.
Yeah, I think there's an untold story there.
Yeah. Like maybe he was the daddy. Yeah. If it was Zeus, you knew he'd be the daddy.
Yeah, I was going to say, yes, definitely. Huh.
Don't you think like that, Jim? According to Andrew?
I don't know if I go that far. I think of some pretty nerdy, geeky things, of course, but whether or not I sit there and spend that much time coming up with it.
Well, I was trying to blame Ant-Man.
Oh.
Because Ant-Man's the one that figured out how to go back in time.
Right. No, I think you traced it back to the real culprit. It's all Odin's fault.
Yeah, it's all Odin's fault, and a long time ago. So, I think everything that's bad that's happened in the most of the major bad things that have happened have been because of Odin.
So somebody needs to go back in time to that moment and stop him from doing that.
Or just walk up to going, what are you thinking bringing home a blue child to your wife? She's going to be pissed. She's going to think you had a baby or you had an affair. Don't do that. Just leave it here. Let the Frost Giants raise him. We're done. Blaming Odin works for many things. Yeah. Ed says, when I go down a rabbit hole like that, I take Xanax and go to sleep.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really.
Not being able to sleep much is what makes me go down rabbit holes like that. So yeah, that just kind of all works out over time, doesn't it? Just everything is.
You take the fun out of everything, Dan. Especially the MCU.
It's all dominoes, man. One domino.
This is number 99.
This is number 99. Next week is episode 100, where all the previous co-hosts are coming back. So Rosalinda Diaz, Dan Taylor, and Paul Story will all be here next week. So and Jim, of course, yes. So I'm going to step out, let you get for talking.
I was going to say, yeah, we don't have any room for you.
I don't think we've had 5 people on the screen before. This should be interesting. It'll work, but it's just gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, well, it'll be off balance, just like your shelves.
Oh, see, now I was gonna offset it, but now you're saying off balance, and
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, it'll be asymmetrical, like your shelves.
So, yeah. Well, the other way I could do it is to do this format. But we get each box would get skinnier and skinnier, and we just probably see about this much of each other.
I'm trying to picture how it will be. It'll be like 2 and 2 and 2, and then there'll be 1, and then there'll be nothing next to.
There'll be 3 across the top, and then 2 below.
Oh, is that how that works? Okay.
Yeah. So
we should just get some 6th random person to kind of offset the whole thing.
Well, Andrew was on the show a couple times. We could bring him on.
Okay. Well, that's up to you. I don't feel like I'm going to get a word in edgewise with all those people. So bring on as many more people as you'd like.
Actually, I think Andrew was our second most frequent guest, with you being the first.
Okay. Yay. At least I'm good for something.
Get 9, you could be the Brady Bunch. Nice. Or
Yeah.
8, and just have that final box be the Popco the logo writer logo.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I was thinking. Yep.
That could work.
Mhm.
So, before we get into the Mandalorian, was there anything? I mean, did you see the Marvels trailer?
Oh, yes. And yeah, actually, more than once, several times, actually.
What did you think of it?
I, I found myself more interested in it than I thought I was going to be. I still don't like Brie Larson, and I still don't like Captain Marvel, but the other two, I I think I was more glad to see Kamala and her family than I thought that I would be.
Yeah,
And I'm definitely there for Monica, of course.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it comes across as like being a comedy, and I mean, I'm hoping it's not an out and out comedy, but no, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And now, you know what, with Nick Fury in it, we assume that it's going to take place after Silent or Secret Invasion, right?
I'm thinking it is, but then again, it might be 6 months before Secret Invasion. It could have happened too.
Yeah. I'm not
So, but
really sure who the like the bad people are in it, the villain.
they're Kree.
Okay.
There is, I don't have the name written down, but there is a character from the comics that they use her name, and it's a gender bend thing, but it's a Kree warrior who tried to
Oh,
take over after the Supreme Intelligence was killed.
yes, I heard this right. It's a male character in the comics,
Yeah,
right?
like Da
Okay.
Ben or something or other,
Okay.
and and she's carrying Ronin's hammer, the Judgment Hammer.
That's right. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
So there's also talk that in one episode of the comic, they went to a planet where everybody rhymes and sings. It's their way of communicating. And we think that's what.
Oh, that's why it looks like the Bollywood sequence
Uh-huh.
in there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was not happy to see Goose back.
Oh, Goose is awesome. What?
No, number one, I don't like cats, and I wasn't real thrilled with the whole flirkin thingy, whatever that thing is.
It made me smile so big to see
All
that
right.
that litter of Flurkins running down the stairs.
I really thought it was cute when Monica goes out there and it's Kamala who comes back, and she's not happy about the situation until she sees Nick Fury. And
Yep,
then
because then she's like,
"Is
it's
this
an
the
actor's
Avengers?"
test.
That was really good. Yeah.
By the way, if you're a world class spy and some teenage girl from New Jersey looks and goes, oh, "You're Nick Fury," you're not doing a good job as a
I
world
know,
class.
right? Yeah, I think pretty much everybody knows who Nick Fury is.
It's probably why he stops wearing the eye patch.
Or kind of stops hanging out on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm up for it. I'm into it, and I I'll sit through a Brie Larson movie to get the rest of it.
I just rewatched the Captain Marvel movie week before last as one of my rewatches for the regular show.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know the trailer was coming, so it was just neat to have it all fresh in my head.
Sure.
And it's not my favorite MCU movie, but I don't have nearly the problems that most people seem to have with that movie.
I just thought it was fairly forgettable. I did rewatch. I saw it in the theater, and then I rewatched it on Disney Plus, and it didn't change my opinion one bit about it. I just think it's a pretty forgettable entry, really, in the whole thing. And I, I swear I won't keep hammering on it, but I do believe that she is one of the rare cases of poor casting in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I have never been able to buy what she's selling. I have never ever believed that she's the badass that they put forward. She just, to me, she can't carry it at all.
See, now I get where you're coming from on that, but I liken that to bad writing because I look at that, and this was one of the things I talked about and saw a completely better use or comparing that versus Iron Man, because that was the other thing I rewatched recently.
Okay.
The brilliant thing that they did with Iron Man, because you have a very unlikable character otherwise,
Yep.
is they start the movie off showing him in the Humvee with the soldiers joking around with them.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Any other point you would have started that movie, you've got him ignoring the award he's given, blowing off Rhodey, hooking up for a one night stand with the reporter, treating Pepper horribly, just everything else we see of him up until he gets captured is not somebody you'd want that you'd sympathize with.
Totally agree.
So take that chunk from the movie, put it front load it. So you see a guy who it's obviously he's famous, but here he is, he's joking with soldiers. And in 2008, we still were pretty, off of the 9/11 and going to war. So soldiers, everybody, thank you for your service, da da da. So for him to be treating the rank and file soldiers, with joking and hanging out with them, and then to have those guys die and him get blood, you immediately like the guy. Had they done that in proper sequence, I don't think it would have worked. I don't think you would have given a damn about Tony, especially anybody outside of comics who didn't know who Tony was. And in 2008, that was a lot of people.
And you also have Robert Downey Jr., who can almost do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. But, he made me believe in the character, of Tony Stark. It is her. It is, for me, it is Brie Larson. I think you could give her any kind of dialogue or whatever, and she does not, to me, in my opinion, she does not have it within herself, to make me believe in that character. It's funny. I actually like her like a little better in Endgame.
Yeah.
Than in her own movie. Again, she just doesn't have the power to carry it. And I'm not, people got on my case immediately when I said that, when that movie came out, and they're like, she's not an Academy Award winner. Is she a nominee?
I think she's a nominee.
Okay. And I said, okay. I said, I'm talking about this movie. It may just be literally that she wasn't right for that movie or that part. I'm hoping that's not the case in the Marvels. I'm hoping that, it was kind of amusing. I liked it when she is in Kamala's home and she realizes it's happened again, and she's, kind of frustrated or, whatever. But again, to project the power and assurance and everything else of the character of Captain Marvel, she just didn't have it.
Okay, but this is where this is my disagreement, in that I don't think we've seen her portray the character how it should be. But I don't think it was her choice, because the first movie was basically, they never gave her a save the cat moment. They never gave her a reason we should connect with her. They kept her very foreign and alien, which I think were the writer-director's goal, because it's the mystery of who she really is.
Yeah.
We didn't get to know her because they didn't want us to know her. So again, I don't think this is bad acting or bad casting. I
Yeah.
think this was bad directorial choice.
Okay.
The same way that I think everybody loves Hayden Christensen now, but they
Yes,
thought he
which
was,
we have talked about. Yep, I agree.
yeah,
Yep.
but they thought he was horrible as that petuous teen. And again, this was how George Lucas told him to perform.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing is the Marvels may change your mind in the sense that if she comes in and is given a character that is more personality, that is more sure of herself, then I think it might work. But
Yeah.
she wasn't supposed to know who she was, what her past was. She's being restricted, her power is being restricted, all of this stuff is going on. She's been fed propaganda for last 5 years. I think it was the character choice they made based on the story they were telling. But I don't think it gave her any room to actually, because there are some funny moments. There are some scenes that she's kind of jostling back and forth with Fury,
Mm-hmm.
where you start seeing this personality, and it's like, yeah, if we would have gotten some of that
Mm-hmm.
early on,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't. She's kept very foreign and alien because of the story they're trying to tell.
I'm going to keep an open mind going into the Marvels, and let's see who wrote the Marvels.
I know Nia DaCosta is directing it.
Okay,
That's a new director.
yeah.
Let me look that up real
I'm
quick.
just wondering if they wrote any other MCU thing.
Let's see. The writer is Nia DaCosta co-wrote it with Elisa Karasik, and she's known for working on Loki.
Oh, okay, good. I like the rating on Loki.
Yeah, she's a relatively new writer, but she was a staff writer on Loki and a TV miniseries called We Crashed, which I assume is a business one. She's also got she worked on as an assistant to the executive producer on both Backstrom and Bones. So
Okay,
she's
okay.
got some interesting pedigree, but
Eddie, the Marvels is a feature film.
yeah, it's going to be it's a theater film. It'll be out in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the big November. I think it's November 10th, but it's the big.
That sounds about right. But
Yeah, it's the big fall
we'll be
movie.
getting the Nick Fury television show before then.
We should get that and Loki before it,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a chance we'll get Echo at the end of the year.
That would be a lot. So, wow.
But they
Three,
haven't done anything up till now.
yeah, three more. Right, yeah, three more
Well, I
series.
think they have to get Echo out because with Daredevil Born Again coming in spring,
Mm-hmm.
it sets, it's supposed to be before that.
Yep, I agree.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, but I mean, they were doing 3-4 series before that. We got counting the What If animated series, they gave us what, 4 the first year?
Oh, is that right? Wow. Yeah, I guess that is right.
Yeah, I mean, because we went with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Then no, we got 5 the first year. Falcon and Winter Soldier, or excuse me, WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and then we ended with Hawkeye.
Is that right? We got that much? Wow. I mean,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I would like to have 5 more series plus, 5 Star Wars series and everything else. Sure, why not?
Is there an MCU movie for this summer? I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 counts as the summer movie.
Yeah,
It'll be out May 5th.
yeah, day
And
after my
then,
birthday.
yeah, and then nothing until November.
Yep.
So
That's okay. Two features is in a year is fine with me.
Ant-Man.
Oh, 3. See, I've already forgotten about Ant-Man. Yes, three, but two would be okay.
Yeah, I like 3 because I like the idea of having a summer, a spring, a summer, and a fall one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, and I think 3 series. I think 3 and 3 would be a good number,
Yeah,
especially if they kind of offset. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like the movie comes out, and then a couple weeks later, the next series, and it wraps up. Then the next movie comes out.
Remember way back when the Marvel television show used to tie into the movies? It was
They
called
couldn't.
Agents of Shield.
Well, we're good. The Marvels is going to do that with the fact that it's the first time one of the headliners is from
Yeah,
TV, let alone 2.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Two, yeah.
Jay says, "Is your birthday May 4th?" And as a Star Wars fan,
I am a Star Wars fan, and my birthday is Star Wars Day. How about that? Yeah. There
Winstead
was
said,
there was this one year where my birthday was both Star Wars Day and Free Comic Book Day.
"Nice."
And yeah, I like that's both my worlds right there. So that was and I think it's coming up again. I mean, obviously it's going to happen again at some point, but yeah, that's isn't that cool? But yeah, if you told my 12-year-old self back in 1977 that my birthday would be, interstellar Star Wars Day.
I just realized my birthday is like 5 days before yours,
Oh, August or April
29th.
29th. I was supposed to be born on April 28th, and I was about a week late. So very cool. I always call August 28th my other birthday.
I was supposed to be born May 6th,
Is that right?
but they induced me a week early because I was kind of a large child.
Okay. Well, May 6th is Free Comic Book Day this year. Huh.
Yeah, I
Very
was.
okay. So that's very interesting. It's like we almost swapped birthdays.
Yeah, I was 10 pounds 4 ounces and induced a week early. My mom's like, "Get him out. I'm done. Get him out. Just get him out."
Jeez. Well, the funny thing is I was very weak and puny, but I was a week late. I wasn't even breathing when I came out. They had to jumpstart me to get breathe. It's funny how these things work. Huh.
Both of my parents were born that way. The not breathing, legally dead, or clinically dead.
Yeah.
My dad was a birth at home,
Oh.
and they needed to put him in an incubator, and all they had was they put him in the oven. They turned the oven on super low, and they put him in there until, and then
In a storm, right?
yeah. And my mom was not breathing, and was born in England during the war, and all they could do was get super hot and super cold water and just drop her back and forth, trying to shock her back, and they did so.
That they did that with Lon Chaney Jr. He had told in an interview he had told a story about how he was born dead. That they had to quick run out and stick him into a cold stream or whatever to shock him to life.
Yep. So both my parents were born that way, and I was born in an insane asylum. So.
And and you've never gotten too far from it.
The jokes write themselves. The hospital I was born in was being converted at the point into an asylum, and the paternity ward was the last thing they did, and I was one of the last babies born at that paternity ward.
That should have been the first thing they did is gotten that out of there. You don't wait. You don't keep the very last thing in a switching over to an insane asylum. Let's keep the maternity ward right up until the very end.
Keep the crazy people.
Yeah, really. Yeah, because that's what the mothers should hear when they're going into labor is mentally disturbed patients.
Well, there had to be a lot of screaming on both ends.
All right, this episode has quickly devolved into strange places.
Yeah. It's our 99th episode. We can get a little crazy.
99 episodes of Pop Goes the Writers on the Wall.
I think I'm going to do that one night for karaoke. Just walk in. What song do you want to do? 99 bottles of beer on the wall? Done in voices.
Wait, what did Jay say? Dan's always been huge.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I've always been a big guy. So
Okay. I've always been a little guy, so
about a half hour to talk about a 52-minute episode. Yeah. So what was there any other things that dropped during the week we should cover before we talk about Mando? We already covered all the Star Wars news from the week before.
Yeah, we did. No, I can't. I mean, I can't really think of anything other than Marvel's. No. Mm-mm.
Super Mario Bros. Is going to get a little bit of money.
Oh, they said that the new Harry Potter TV series is a done deal.
Yes.
I don't know what to think about that. It's disturbing in several different ways. Like, number one, I think it's too soon.
Yes. Agreed.
Because honestly, I don't know how they could design the look of it much differently than what's been done in those 7 movies or 8 movies. Pardon me, I forgot they divided one. On the pro side, I think giving each book a whole season is good because now we can get everything.
Yeah.
We don't have to have like the way the Half-Blood Prince, for example, was really truncated. But and then there's the weirdness about how do you hire some kids and that they don't grow up over that period of time. I mean, it was bad enough with, Daniel Radcliffe and the rest of them that they grew up so quick.
Right, and they're planning this for 10 seasons.
Yeah, it's just
So it looks like the first couple books will be 1 season, and then the last 3, which were huge, would be 2 seasons each. So you basically have to find a kid who can pull off Harry and Hermione and that, and then keep them for 10 years.
Yeah.
So you're going to be playing him at 18, and your kid is going to probably be 23, 22.
Yeah, I don't know how old, like, for example, Daniel Radcliffe was for the final film, but I don't know. I can't imagine. And then, like I said, how what else do you do with the design of everything other than what we already got, which to me was near perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to boil down into every possible link, especially in the first couple books. Like the very first book isn't that in depth.
No, not at all.
I mean, are you going to have
written for young readers? I mean, she was clever in the way that she advanced the level of reading and sophistication of what was going on as the books went on. Whereas you get to the last novel and it's pretty much an adult level novel.
Yeah.
I'm not totally against it. It's just I don't know if it's needed for one thing. And I guess they're assuming that by the time it comes out and they get into it, it'll be like a whole new generation, that will have that will look at the past films as old stuff that they don't want to watch. I don't know.
Well, I know that they're looking for a showrunner now. So I'll say what I would do in case they're watching.
Okay.
I would want to focus on, at least early on, the emphasis of a kid being taken away from their family and into the school, and you've got these 3 great ways to do it because you have one kid who's grown up in a magic family, everybody is magical, and he knows all about this. Then you have one kid who's a muggle who knows not, is learning all about this stuff because of her abilities, but comes from a family that knows nothing about magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this third kid who's besides having the thing about him, the premonition, or what's the term?
Prophecy.
The prophecy about him, but he didn't know this world exists and finds out that his entire past is tied up in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these three different approaches to this world, and you could really look through these kids' eyes.
Yeah.
And what does it mean to suddenly be in this magical world?
Mm-hmm.
From the one who knew about it growing up to the one who knew nothing about it, the outsider. I mean, you really could dive deep into those characters.
Yeah.
And expand it out, and also the teachers and the backstories on them. Even in the first season, there is a part where Dumbledore explains the Sorcerer's Stone,
mm-hmm.
and how Nicholas, whatever his name was, I want to say Fromage, but I don't think that was it. Nicholas Flamel
mm-hmm.
got the stone, and you could actually do that as an episode.
Sure. Yeah.
So
yeah.
There are moments in there, but again, you're talking about kids who are, I mean, they're adults now, they're 30 some odd years old, but they're still, I mean, they're not old enough to play the teachers yet, in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does seem like too soon. And then again, Lord of the Rings is kind of the same thing. They're going to do more Lord of the Rings movies. And as long as they're doing like additional stories, that's great. But if they're trying to do like redo the telling, no, it's too soon.
I agree. I thought that's what it was, and then everybody had to school me.
They haven't said what they're doing yet on the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought kind of too. But no, I had a bunch of people say, "Oh no, it's new stories or side stories or whatever." And it's like, oh, okay.
No, not only have they not said, but Elijah Wood has come out and said that if they wanted to continue and go further adventures and did different things, and they wanted him to come back for some reason as Frodo, he would, but he wouldn't want to be involved in a reboot. So he doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, that a reboot would usually be that they get new. Well, did I hear right that Ralph Fiennes said he could be Voldemort again in this new one? I mean, no, Rafe, you had your chance.
Yeah.
No,
take your missing nose and go stand over with Hugo Weaving and be done with it.
The tone struck with the Harry Potter movies to me was just about perfect. So my concern would be that they go like very, very, very dark from the beginning, dark and dreary and depressing, or from the very beginning, I don't know. I mean, it's a wait and see kind of a thing. I'm somewhat interested. I want to know more. I want to see what it's going to look like, and I'll decide.
That brings up a good point: is how will the new movies affect the Rings of Power series?
Lord of the Rings. I was like, Harry Potter, I don't think is going to affect Rings of Power at all. But yeah, that's a really good point too. Unless these new movies are all in the third age.
You say it's not going to affect, but tell me you wouldn't tune in if there was an episode of Lord of the Rings that crossed over with Harry Potter, and Gandalf and Dumbledore had to go toe to toe against each other.
No, Gandalf and Galadriel. I'm sorry, Dumbledore and Galadriel.
Yeah. So, All right, let's go ahead and move on to The Mandalorian.
Why? Nothing really happened in that episode.
Well, first off, I love the fact that it's called Spies.
Mm-hmm.
And we only see one.
That we know of.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we have two people that seem really obvious or potential.
Listen. I am so filled with tension and on the edge about this armorer thing. It's driving me crazy. And you know what? I'm trying to keep my expectations low. I'm trying not to be that Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like everything leads to she's being really funky about something. And if it comes out that it's not, I'm going to be mad. I'm sorry. And I don't think I'm going to be the only one. I think it's like everything keeps pointing to her being, but the big thing with me is, okay, if we're told that she's working with Gideon, or she's not working with Gideon, but she's working against Bo-Katan and Din.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, those things. But the big thing is why? Because I can't conceive of what her deal would be. Why would she be doing everything that she seems to be doing? What does she have to gain, from what if she's doing this stuff? Here we go. All right.
All right.
Go for it.
So, if she is Rookcast, who myself and many people are theorizing,
Yeah.
She has a tie outside. She used to work for Darth Maul.
Yeah. Okay.
So I could see her turning against Bo-Katan and hooking up with Gideon when the Imperials came, and making. So she was able to take her group, Death Watch, who were the ones that followed Maul.
Yeah.
And and stay on Concordia. They weren't hunted. And then when she does move them, she moves them happens to be to the same planet that Moff Gideon shows up on.
Yeah.
So Navarro. There's just a lot of stuff that makes the armor is very sus.
Yes.
And I could totally see it. And then when we do see Moff Gideon in his Mandalorian armor, Beskar armor,
Yeah.
he's got horns on his helmet.
Yeah. Okay. Question. I saw somebody put this theory out there, and it's very interesting. Is Gideon a Mandalorian?
Yeah, that just popped in my head a second ago. I don't think he is, but then again, they might say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he is somebody who wants to take the best of each. So
Yeah.
I think the reason he was trying to clone Grogu, wasn't because he was trying to clone someone. I think he was trying to grow midichlorians so that he could then inject them into himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And give him the ability to control the Force.
So he's all about cultural appropriation, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. He wants to be the Jedi. He wants to be Mandalorian. Okay. That's very, very interesting. I don't totally see how he could be a Mandalorian and still, I mean, he was an Imperial, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Moff. So
right.
How could he have had an Imperial career all this time, and then, but also he
might have been a foundling that was raised, and then
that's the only way that I can kind of see that happening. Going back to the armorer for a moment, there was that whole weird thing, her taking the wounded people in the ship, and there's that long kind of thing about her getting up there, going through the clouds, and then coming, and that didn't really go anywhere. It was the strangest choice by the director to follow that, because I kept thinking, like, she comes out of the clouds into space, and there's all these enemy ships waiting for her, or something, or she's not going to get through to. I don't know. It was just the weirdest choice. Again, unless there's something behind all of that.
She could be the red herring, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because they do give us that other moment where Axe Wove says, "I will go get help," and he flies out of the hole in the ceiling.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So two people leave before they get, totally, or get into the really bad stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of them is the spy, supposedly.
How much do you think is going to, I mean, we're not going to get a total wrap up in this final episode, obviously. But I mean, what do you think is going to be accomplished in this next one?
Wow. You know what? I know from a storytelling point of view how much I would think they could get done.
Mm-hmm.
But this show has always done more in an episode in very wave away ways.
Yeah.
The whole, well, who's going to have the Darksaber? It's hers. She saved me. Well, that's taken care of. Thanks. Okay. Or we have to go to Mandalore and see if it's safe. Oh, look, it's safe.
Yeah. I have to bathe in the waters. Okay, that's done.
Exactly. So a lot of the stuff that I thought was going to take more time have all been wrapped up. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get to the end of this and it's revealed that we have a lot of deaths, but it's revealed that the armorer was working against them. This ends up bringing the Mandalorians together. Mm-hmm. That we might end up having both the armorer and Moff Gideon killed, because then we switch to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thrawn could show up. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen.
My theory is that Gideon does not get his until the movie. I could see one more season of Mandalorian before we get the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Totally could, but we haven't heard if they're going to do another one. And I get the feeling that they're worried that Pedro Pascal won't stick around much longer.
Speaking of which, he's being hauled off to be interrogated. There's no way they don't remove his helmet. And we're right back to that whole thing again. Unless we get to the point where Mandalorians just don't have to do that anymore.
And I think they will get to that.
I'm pretty sure it's going to happen in this last episode, because we have not seen Pedro's face in this season. He always gets his face shown at least once, in a season. So it's got to be this next one.
If you would have asked me a few weeks ago, I would have had one kind of answer. But recently, a couple people who have worked on the show said that the show is getting to a point where it's not all about Din Djarin. It's about the Mandalorian culture.
Absolutely.
The Mandalorians. Yeah. And so I could totally have seen, up until then, I could have seen Bo-Katan gets killed by someone. Din comes in, saves her, picks the Darksaber back up. The last thing Bo-Katan tells him is, about the mythosaur in the water, and we end the episode with the Imperials about to wipe out the Mandalorian, and here comes Din Djarin with Grogu riding forward on the mythosaur, because Grogu's got the ability to charm animals. Mm-hmm. Them riding out and taking out the Imperials with the mythosaur. Mm-hmm. Carrying the Darksaber and pulling together all the Mandalorians, and he's now the Mandalore. Totally
I think the title of the show can, refer to more than one. It can refer to all of them, for that matter. Here's another big question. Grogu and IG-12, silly or not silly?
It's silly to me, but it has to be a setup for something.
Okay.
Maybe Grogu's going to kick somebody's ass, steal the Darksaber, and ride out on the mythosaur.
Well,
and he becomes the new Mandalore.
Well, Din saved Grogu from Gideon once a while back. So now it's Grogu's time to save Din from Gideon, I guess.
Yeah, why do you think they kidnapped Mando to get to Grogu? You know what? I'm not feeling that desire to get Grogu anymore.
No, I think that's done. They got the blood from him.
Yeah, I think Gideon's pissed because he got beat. So, and now maybe he's going to use Din as the clone for all of his troopers. If he is cloning people, maybe Din becomes the the prototype in the same way that Jango Fett was. I don't know. Grogu reminded me.
You know what? This came up today when I was talking to somebody at work about this. Remind me, Jango Fett, it was a Mandalorian foundling. Is that right? Or was he an actual Mandalorian?
No, I believe he was a foundling.
Okay, that's what I remembered. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Boba Fett, if the Mandalorians all get their act together and can join together, I mean, Boba Fett does have he should be, if he wanted to, which he wouldn't want to, he would be accepted, right? He's got Mandalorian legacy in him, I guess. I mean, he is a clone of Jango, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I think there's the thing is that, as Gideon points out, the Death Watch and the Night Owls are mortal enemies, and that's because Death Watch were the ones that turned on Satine Kryze and killed her, Bo-Katan's sister.
Yeah.
So, and again, that's why I think that it's recast, because that would make a ton of sense.
Yeah. Paz Vizsla, good death or bad death?
It was a good death for the character. He got to go out heroically, saving people. It's a shame that we just found out that he was a dad.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, one Mandalorian has a father. Nope, turns out it doesn't. Yeah, but Andrew says the one to reunite Mando and Wild is the original maker. Maybe we've all been fooled in the title Grogu is the Mandalorian. Now, I've heard actually a few people talk about that they think that the Mandalorian is reference to Grogu and how at the end of this he's going to be the new Mandalore, which was, the guy with the late Tar Vizsla was the Jedi Mandalorian with the Darksaber.
I can't see it because he is going to still be basically an infant or a toddler for a long, long, long time. I said this again to somebody at work who loves the show. Din is going to, if Din doesn't die of, from heroics and he dies a natural death, Grogu is still going to be a very, very small child when his dad, passes away.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I hope they don't do any sort of artificial aging on him or anything, like that. I mean, he's still about 55 years old out of 900.
The thing that the Chekhov's gun in this, and why I still think that Din's going to end up with the Darksaber, is because even up until the most recent the Jack Black episode, he still cannot use the Darksaber well.
Right. Yes. Right.
And the fact that they put that in there means that, we're still watching to see if he ever figures out how to use it properly, how to clear his mind, like the armor had said.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a moment that he's going to have to use it to save somebody he cares about, whether it's Grogu or this newfound connection he has with Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
you know. So I don't think he's done with the Darksaber yet. And the way,
I could agree with that. Yep.
yeah, so I think it's going to end up back with Den. I think there's a good chance Bo-Katan gets killed.
Damn, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say, you know what? You've put this firmly in my brain now. I just suddenly, have grown cold all over with the feeling that she's not going to make it out of this.
Here's your climax: is Bo-Katan fights Rook Cast, kills Rook, Gideon kills her, and then you have the final showdown between uh, Gideon and him, and he comes out of it with the Darksaber, and maybe Grogu's the one that brings the Mythosaur out.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I think I've asked you this before. If the armor is revealed as, what's the character's name?
Rook Cast.
Rook Cast. Is that is that too much to bring in at this time in the show for people who wouldn't really have any idea what that is?
No, because I think it's pretty easy to explain.
Okay.
Because all they'd have to do is say something to the effect of, it's like if someone's explaining it to Din Djarin. I think everybody in the Night Owls would know who she is.
Okay.
Because they were against her.
Oh, so I might have asked you this before. Bo-Katan has met Rook Cast?
Yes.
Why wouldn't she recognize the voice unless she's doing a voice, right?
Yeah, she may not be talking her normal voice.
Okay. That's the other thing. How much older than Din is Bo-Katan? She was around during the Clone Wars. Like, he was a kid during the Clone Wars, but the way she talks, I mean, what was she, like 20? Was she or an older teenager?
She was like late teens.
Okay, so she is older than him by
a few years at least, which is funny because the actress is younger than Pedro Pascal.
Is there? Yeah, it's funny. Pedro is playing a lot younger than what. I guess that's it doesn't matter since he's not seen really.
But also we got to remember that he could have been alive during it because they were on Concordia, they weren't on Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
So he was completely separated because there were two events. There was Darth Maul taking over Mandalore.
Right.
And then the Jedi's helping them take it back.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have been before Order 66.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a big chunk of time.
Yeah.
So she is definitely older, but I was thinking that he would be on Concordia, so he wouldn't have known about that stuff, because when the Night of Tears.
Geez, the Clone Wars at this point in time, the Clone Wars are, God, what, almost 30 years? So we're supposed to believe that Bo-Katan is in her 40s, maybe even late 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
And see, that actually makes me think more about Rook Cast, because her people were exiled onto Concordia. The Imperials never went after them on Concordia.
Okay.
We were hidden on Concordia. But if she got a hold of the Empire, or Moff Gideon, and gave the information of, this is where you attack, this is our weak points, because she hates Bo-Katan, and that they had lost.
Right.
I could see that.
Okay, that's very interesting. Is there anything in the Rook Cast character that would indicate that she would have the forging abilities?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But you can learn that.
I mean, she is a man. Yeah, I get that. I mean, so it would have been learned after we last saw that character in whatever show that was.
Yeah.
Clone Wars, I guess. Okay.
Well,
Because
I think she actually was in. It was Clone Wars.
okay, so because she's a master of it,
Yeah.
she's the armorer,
No, it wasn't Rebels, because Bo-Katan got the Darksaber from Sabine Wren, who's part of the Rebels team.
Mm-hmm.
So, did Obi-Wan kill Maul? Yes. This also took place in Clone Wars, but they actually met on Maul followed Ezra Bridger to Tatooine and found Obi-Wan,
Right.
and basically led Maul to him.
Yeah. It took place in Rebels. You say Clone Wars.
Yeah, it was Rebels.
Rebels, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan kills him, right?
Yeah, you're right. They just blur together for me.
Okay. I get you. I hear you.
Andrew says, pause, you were a douchebag, but you held the line, taking on a platoon of super commandos while melting your cannon, taken out by 3 Praetorian guards. Yep. This is the effing way. Nice. Yep. All right, we have hit our hour. We probably could keep talking about the damn show because there's so many.
I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about next time.
Yeah. But again, they could do absolutely anything. That's the thing we've seen with this show.
Yep.
Is you can't predict what they're going to do.
Yeah. Some people think that they could predict them, that they're going to screw it up, but you know what? With that last episode, they brought a lot of people back, so they've got it right there, and they just gotta do something cool.
Yep. You could have eliminated a few things and done this in like 4 episodes. You know that this whole season could have been 4 episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And did I hear that this last episode is like 30-something minutes long or something?
It wouldn't surprise me. I haven't heard how long it is, but it wouldn't surprise me. Well, it's 5 minutes, guys.
Jam-packed.
It's 5 minutes. Gideon pries off Jin's helmet, and that's the end, and we have to go back for next season.
Right.
So, all right, let's wrap that up there, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Jim, thanks for being on again. We will come back